Alright guys, how's it going? I got another deck here. This one is my Intruder Alarm deck. This used to be my token deck, but I kind of modified it because I just wanted combos instead. Combo Wombo. There's a lot of combos in here. Alright, let's go over it. This deck is all about combos, basically, infinite combos especially. First one is Earthgraft. This is a key card in a lot of these combos. Tap an untap creature you control to untap target basic land. This works really well with the card Squirrel Nest, as you will see later on. And plus, it's really good for getting extra mana as well. Basically, all your creatures turn into like elves, Llanowar elves, or birds of paradise. Priest of Titania. I know this is in Korean, but basically this says you tap to add 1 mana for each elf on the battlefield that you control. So since there's a lot of elves in this deck, this thing can add a lot of green mana. So every time it taps, it can add at least 1, since this is an elf, but it can add more than that as well. Squirrel Nest, here's the card I was talking about. So your land gets tapped, put a 1/1 green squirrel creature token to play. When you combine it with Earthgraft, you basically have infinite squirrels, because you can just enchant a basic land with this. And you can untap the squirrel you just created using Earthgraft. You can just tap it to untap that land, so you can create another squirrel, and then that squirrel can tap to create another to untap this land, and this thing can create infinite squirrels based on that. All right, this is a Chinese version. Ooh, Chinese and Korean. Rofellos, member of the Weatherlight. Okay, 2 mana for a 2/1 elf legend. I'm not sure if this is on the reserve list. I think it is, but they should definitely reprint this guy because the ability is pretty good. Look, add 1 green mana to your mana pool for each forest you control, and it doesn't even have the mana symbol here. It just says green mana, like in English. So this is from the Urza's Destiny. Back then, I think maybe they didn't use mana symbols inside the text. But yeah, this thing can add a whole bunch of mana because it adds for each forest you control. Almost not quite as good as Gaia's Cradle. I don't have a Gaia's Cradle. That's too expensive. But pretty good still. Can add a lot of mana. Alright, then I have Opposition. Tap an untap creature you control to untap target artifact, creature, or land. You can imagine just how many squirrel tokens you can create in this deck, like Squirrel Nest, for example, and then using those creatures, those token creatures, to tap everything your opponent controls. Well, not almost everything. You can't tap enchantments. You can't tap planeswalkers. Why would you tap those anyways? But the important stuff: artifacts, creatures, and lands. So you can lock down the opponent, basically, when you have a lot of creatures. Elvish Harbinger, I use this guy to bring any elf into my, basically tutor for an elf, because you can tutor for any elf and you can tap to add 1 mana of any color, so it has a Birds of Paradise effect as well. So that's nice. It's another Opposition, different art, 7th edition. Imperious Prefect is another token generator. Not only does it pump up my other elves, but 1 mana to put a 1/1 green elf creature token to play. Technically a 2/2 immediately, since this thing buffs it up. So another token generator. Elvish Mystic is Llanowar Elf, just a different name. Impulse, this thing I use to dig up my combo cards. 2 mana, instant. I can look at the top 4 cards in my deck, put 1 of them in my hand, and the rest on the bottom. I think they should reprint this card. I don't think it's on the reserve list, but it's in need of a reprint. This card just looks really old. Some Visions. That's way back. But yeah, it digs 4 cards deep, and I like it. So just 2 mana as well. It's an instant. Here is one of the main cards in this deck, Intruder Alarm. Yep, so creatures don't untap. I don't care too much about that, because when any creature comes into play, you untap all creatures. Now, notice how many creatures in here create other creatures using a tap ability, like Imperious Prefect, for example. So this thing would tap to put a 1/1 into play. As soon as that 1/1 comes into play, as soon as that token comes into play, you untap everything. Then you can do it again, and again, and again, right? So that basically means with an enchantment like this one, Presence of Gond, this one says, put a 1/1 green elf creature token to play, you enchant it, it has that ability to tap. Now this thing, you can't do it infinitely because it has 1 mana activation cost. Well, what if I don't want an activation cost? Oh, I would enchant it with Presence of Gond. And then, using Intruder Alarm, I can basically make infinite tokens. So that's the combo right there, right? Enchant a creature, make infinite tokens. Every time it taps, you get 1 to play. When it taps, you untap it. So, yeah, infinite tokens. That's the combo wombo. Yeah, let's more combo pieces. Knowledge Stamper, I have just one of these, but basically I have this in case the opponent has something stupid that I can't get past. Tap 4 to destroy target artifact enchantment, so it's in case they have some kind of barrier or moat or something that prevents me, I can kill that. Capsize, another card that can help me with problematic stuff. So just bounce it back to their hand if they have something preventing me from winning. Skull Clamp is a draw card machine. Since these tokens are mostly 1/1s, this thing is basically 1 mana, draw 2 cards. Essence Warden, basically if this is on the field and I have this infinite combo going, I also have infinite life as well, which is really useful. And Pendelhaven, okay, target 1/1 creature gets +1/+2 until end turn. I like that it doesn't have any kind of drawback except being legendary. So it doesn't come into play tapped or anything. It's basically a forest, but it has an extra ability that can help save some of my creatures, so that's good. Pendelhaven, I think this one is, yeah, this one's a this DCI promotion card. I'm not sure if this one got reprinted. I don't think it has. Another Priest Titania. I even have a Japanese one. I guess I have Korean, Japanese, and Chinese. Stroke of Genius. This is my kill condition here when I have infinite mana. Now it's easy to get infinite mana because I have a lot of creatures like this that can tap for infinite mana. And as soon as I have another one of these things that can, or a Squirrel's Nest or something like that, can keep untapping this creature, I can store infinite mana, keep tapping, untap, tap, 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 get a 1/1. Intruder Alarm activates, untap everything, tap, get 1/1, tap, you know. Oh, sorry, this one wouldn't work. The Presence of Gone one would work, actually, this one. So yeah, I would have infinite mana, and this is where I would use the infinite mana. Target player draws X cards, so I would deck him. If he can't draw his, he'll draw his entire deck, and then he'll lose the game, basically. This has been used as a win condition for a lot of different decks, like back then. Was using like Grim Monoliths and Tolarian Academies and stuff. But yeah, you would use this when you have a whole bunch of mana, like, you know, hundreds, thousands of mana, infinite mana, and then you make them draw your soul deck. I stroke you for 110 or something like that. Alright, and last card here is, this one is pretty interesting. Tradewind Wide Rider, another card I don't think has been reprinted yet. Looks pretty old, from Tempest. But yeah, 4 mana, tap 2 creatures I control, return target permanent to its owner's hand. So this, along with Capsize, can probably deal with any problematic stuff I encounter. So if they have something, for example, that say, oh, I can't be targeted using this, or you can't be targeted spells or abilities. So say they have an Ivory Mask out, I can't target them. What can I do? I use Tradewind Rider and return all their stuff to their hand, and yeah, GG basically. That's it. That's my Intruder Alarm combo deck.